Welcome, everyone, from wherever you're tuning in from at whatever time and day you are tuning in at. My name is William Goldie, and welcome to PTZ Optics. Today, we are going to be talking about NDI and how PTZ Optics is leveraging the NDI technology for your live video distribution. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Be talking leveraging NDI for live video distribution over IP. This year, NDI 5 was announced. NDI 5 is moving video forward and moving video to the world. NDI is the most powerful video over IP technology that we have ever been able to get our hands on. And we were integral in the process of developing NDI for the PTZ Optics camera lines to maximize its potential and maximize its capabilities. So, in brief, what is NDI? NDI is Network Device Interface. It means that you can distribute low latency, high quality video over IP using your existing or a new IP infrastructure. We're going to jump into the details of that here in a second. I want to kick this conversation off by what we see as an awesome example of the NDI platform being used with PTZ Optics cameras, and it's probably something you've never seen before. So this is a video from a partner that we are working with. If you notice in the lower right-hand corner there, that is a Boston Dynamics robots. That's one of those really scary deer-looking robots that runs around with no attachment to anything and able to walk through separate environments. Now, what this company is doing is they are using those robots with the PT30X NDI camera attached to our PT wireless cable to send high-quality video remotely to an off-site evaluator who's looking at this building's construction when it's in a state that may not be safe for humans to walk through. Now, with this technology, they can actually see this live video basically from anywhere in the world just by VPNing into that system and capturing that NDI video feed over IP. Let's talk about different studio setups, different at-home setups that you might be able to use, and how NDI is moving into the future. Now, at Infocom, we're talking all things unified communication. So that could be anything like Zoom, Skype, GoToMeetings, and it could even include vMix, OBS, Wirecast, you name it. These are all technologies that we have become so accustomed to now post-pandemic that NDI has moved into the world of adapting those. Or should I say, actually, those unified communications platforms have adopted the NDI platform because of its ease of use. Now, on our cameras with PTZ Optics and HuddleCam HD, when we're talking NDI, that means that you only need a single Cat5 or Cat6 cable to the back of the camera run to a PoE switch. Here you can see we have a Netgear M4250 network switch, brand new to the Netgear line. They were built with NDI in mind for the use of PTZ Optics cameras. Now, this is a pro-level studio package. So this is, we'll call it live streaming for your churches. We'll call it live streaming for your government facilities or even your corporate facilities where you may want to do product presentation or unified communications on a very, very high level. Now, this has every bell and whistle you can think of. It's got our PTZ Optics Super Joy controller, again, sending signals over IP using the NDI platform. And you can see in this studio package, we even have our HuddleCam HD Simple Track 2, which this year we were able to adapt the NDI technology to. Now, if you see here in our studio, you can leverage this auto tracking technology that uses motion and facial recognition to up your production value, and you only have to connect that camera with one Cat5 cable. Looking back to our diagram here, you have 3 other cameras, our standard PTZ line, using that PT SuperJoy joystick to control them. And you could even route out to a Wi-Fi router, connect your smartphone, iOS or Android device to that network, and you can use our control apps to control your cameras. Now, from that Netgear switch, you just simply run your Cat5 cable out, maybe to like a Simply Nook or production PC, and there you can actually pull in all of your media sources over that NDI platform. Now, this is a high-level example of a studio, but it can be much, much simpler than that. Here we see an example of a small studio setup, just simply 3 cameras. We have maybe a box cam and 2 PTZ cams, our PTZOptics Gen 4 IP joystick, and again, a Netgear switch tied to a Wi-Fi router and then tied to your production PC. Now, this production PC is where you're going to host your production software. This production PC can also use things like Zoom, GoToMeetings, Skype, Teams, you name it, and you can pull in these NDI video sources as virtual webcams. So you can not only use your studio as a place to create content, as a place to live stream, but you can also use your studio as a place where you can host meetings. Now we have multi-use rooms. Think about the fact that we're slimming down our office spaces. We don't need all the spaces we used to, and we're just getting high-end, top-tier content creation, AV, UC, and video production rooms. NDI is the technology that you can use to leverage all of that, again, just using your simple IP infrastructure. Now, if you want to think about NDI in layman's terms, it really is that easy. Just a camera connected to a video switch, and boom, you have video distribution over IP. Anything attached to that Netgear switch right there is going to be able to pull in that video feed. And that's what makes the NDI technology so great for your spaces. If you think about any corporate offices, really any buildings built in the last 20 years, they're going to have an Ethernet port in that space, which means they're wired for AV. And that is the incredible fact about NDI that UC and unified communications are starting to adapt, just like that example that we saw earlier from Boston Dynamics with that robot. And this year, NDI did launch NDI 5. It has a whole host of new features that are going to make using the NDI platform that much easier and that much greater into the future. There's peer-to-peer sharing, there's common video feed sharing, there's the ability to pull NDI sources from literally anywhere using VPN or even the common internet. NDI makes it possible to work flexibly with media sources that are across any distances, network boundaries, and even in cloud environments. Now, if you think about that, really that means that honestly, your imagination is the only limitation for PTZOptics using the NDI platform. Now let's go briefly just talking about our products here. Here we have 3 examples of our NDI cameras that we use. This is our PTZ version. It comes in a 12x, 20x, and 30x model camera. Now, when we're talking about just a simple Cat5 cable, it's just as easy as literally that port right there. So we have a LAN port. You see it labeled NDI HX. And you could literally ignore all the other ports on the back of this camera, and that would be the only one you would have to leverage in order to get this guy put into your production, or have this tied in again to your Zoom meetings, your GoToMeetings, or your Skype meetings. This is our 12x Z-Cam. Now this same thing has that LAN port in the back. That's the only port you're going to need to leverage for your NDI video source. And when you're connected via NDI over IP, you have the ability to tap into these cameras' OSDs. So you can adjust their picture settings, balance, or even use controls in that OSD. So you don't even need all the bells and whistles of controllers or software controllers or anything of the like. You can literally just pick the IP address of the camera you're wanting to access, and you'll have every piece of control you could ever want. And that, again, is one of the beauties of the NDI technology. So with NDI and PTZOptics, again, your imagination is literally the only limitation when it comes to delivering high quality video using low latency over IP via that NDI, now in their 5th generation software and technologies. If you have any questions about NDI and PTZOptics and how we can leverage these powerful technologies in your next projects, please reach out to us. Again, my name is William Goldie. I'm the Director of Channel Sales here at PTZOptics. We'll have our contact information available to you. And if you want to reach out, just talk tech, we're here. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for the attention. We hope to hear from you soon. And we want to hear about your projects. We want to hear about how you're imagining the use of this technology.